On The Young and the Restless, tomorrow, Monday, June 9, 2025, Sharon is worried about Mariah, and she has good reason. We've got the photo spoilers of what's coming up. Nick and Sharon are going to France together, but Sharon is having second thoughts. Sharon has some concerns about leaving for France. Sharon has some serious concerns about Mariah. Will she choose to stay home to be there for her daughter, or will she choose to go to Aristotle's party? Tessa being very patient with her wife, but wants answers. Tessa tries to assure Mariah that no matter what happened, she wants to hear it. Mariah has a meltdown and can't bring herself to tell Tessa what happened on her business trip. Mariah has a flashback to the man she met on her business trip. Mariah and the man got close. Daniel runs into Mariah at Crimson Lights and can tell she is very upset. Daniel is shocked when Mariah and Tessa's argument continues in front of him. Mariah makes a scene when she goes off on Tessa. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. Here are your The Young and the Restless spoilers for June 10. When Victor encourages Audra to play dirty, Damien and Holden's friendship is tested, and Jack and Diane agree to meet Dumas. It's safe to say that Kyle's charm bracelet gift to Nikki on her birthday did not exactly, well, charm Victor. Neither Kyle's warm gesture nor his contractual agreement to leave Genoa City and pay the mogul $5 million has impressed Victor. On Tuesday's show, watch for Claire's grandfather to ask Audra to play dirty. Does this mean he's going to insist that his minion trick Kyle into cheating on Claire? There's certainly a lot of sexual tension between Kyle and Audra. If he's around her too much, Kyle could succumb to Audra's charms, especially as Victor is going to insist Audra step up her game. Holden and Damien have shared a great friendship that predates their arrival in Genoa City. Holden is loyal to Damien. He pretended to be him when he first came to Genoa City. Watch for their rapport to be tested on Tuesday's episode. Damien had to let his buddy know that he'd lost his job as Dumas had canned Damien from his company. We've seen Holden reach out to Audra for a position. He showed great vulnerability to her. But if she turns him down, Damien might ask Holden for some help. Could Damien get past his pal's harsh but understandable reaction to things ending with Dumas? Coincidentally, Diane and Jack agreed to go on a belated honeymoon before receiving Dumas's mysterious invitation. On Tuesday's show, watch for them to agree to attend Dumas's big gala. They'll have to get packing fast because Dumas's party is set to commence at the end of the week. The power players of Genoa City recently gathered at Nikki's birthday gala, and now it appears that many of them will be meeting in France. Only this time, it won't be to celebrate a birthday. It will be to come face-to-face with the enigmatic Dumas. He's been on the lips of nearly everyone in town for months. We can envision it now. Jack will be in a tuxedo. Diane will be dressed in a fabulous gown. This meeting is one of the most anticipated events of the year. The Young and the Restless spoilers update for Tuesday, June 10, reveals that Victor Newman will deliver an ASAP order while Holden Novak plays spy games. Kyle Abbott will also land in more trouble, so there'll be a lot happening on the CBS soap. At the athletic club, Victor will sit down with Audra Charles and explain that her wish has been granted. Audra pushed Victor to score her 2 invitations to Aristotle Dumas' party, so he'll find a way to get her what she needs. From there, Y&R spoilers say Audra will have to do the rest. Victor will expect Audra to rise to the challenge when it comes to persuading Kyle to attend the festivities in Nice. It'll be a tricky task since Kyle probably won't want to leave Claire Newman while she's so worried about Cole Howard. Nevertheless, Audra will once again assure Victor that she's got everything under control. Audra will get an ASAP order to work her magic on Kyle and get him to France for this bash, so she'll promise she can pull it off. While Audra and Victor's meeting is going on, Holden will play spy games nearby since he'll be able to overhear at least some of the discussion. Whether Holden gets updates on Audra's full agenda or not, he'll definitely figure out that drama's brewing. Kyle is Audra's target, but they could both get caught in the trap that's forming. It'll be interesting to see if Holden warns Audra about that in the coming episodes. As for Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins Abbott, they'll strategize as they get ready for Dumas' shindig. Diane and Jack will assume they're finally going to meet the infamous Dumas, so they'll want to be prepared. Back with Holden, he'll have to decide whether he's willing to accept Damien Kane's peace offering. Damien is truly sorry over Holden's firing and wants to make things up to him, but will Holden be willing to let him? On the Monday, June 9th episode of The Young and the Restless, Daniel cautions Phyllis, Sharon reconsiders going to France, and Mariah's flashbacks haunt her. At the cottage, Sharon looked at a framed photo of Mariah, Tessa, and Aria and held it close to her heart. Nick arrived to talk about their trip to France. He revealed that Victoria would be watching Newman while he was gone, leaving him available to protect Nikki and Chancellor. Nick envisioned how he and Sharon would spend their free time in Nice, but he noticed she was distracted. Sharon admitted that she was worried about Mariah. Sharon informed Nick that something traumatic had happened to Mariah on a business trip, but Maria wouldn't tell anyone what it was. Sharon fretted that when she tried to push, Mariah either shut down the conversation or left the room. Nick noted that Maria was tough and resilient, and he was sure she'd get to the other side. Sharon bemoaned that whatever was haunting Mariah was like a dark cloud that refused to pass, and she was terrified for her daughter. Sharon cited her own flashbacks of Ian, but she believed the memories were constant for Mariah. Sharon voiced concern that things would get worse for Mariah, and she wouldn't be there to help her daughter if she went on the trip to France. Nick said he'd be disappointed if Sharon couldn't go, but he understood. Sharon asked if there were a specific reason he'd be upset if she couldn't make it. Nick recalled that he and Sharon had had a great time in London, and he'd been looking forward to traveling with her again. Sharon noted that they hadn't had a lot of time to themselves, whereas the trip to France would be just the two of them. Nick pointed out that Dumas had invited many others, and he was a little worried it might be a disaster waiting to happen with all of Geno City's power families under one roof. He contemplated what was in it for Dumas. Nick thought there was no chance he'd be polite if Dumas confronted Nikki or started talking about Chancellor. Nick revealed that he wanted Sharon there to calm him down if things started to boil over. Sharon realized that Nick was going to France to protect his family from Dumas, and her role would be to go along to protect him from himself. Sharon swore she'd love to join Nick under any other circumstances. Nick assured her that the offer still stood if she changed her mind, and he vowed to discipline himself not to take a swing at Dumas. Nick pondered whether the trip was a smokescreen to get them all out of town and strike in Genoa City while they were gone. Sharon promised to keep her eyes and ears open while he was away, but she didn't see herself leaving town unless Maria had a breakthrough. At the athletic club, Daniel rambled to Phyllis about how well his guitar lessons with Tessa were going. Phyllis announced that she had news too, about Aristotle Dumas. Daniel rolled his eyes and conceded that he'd known she wanted to talk about the guy, but he'd been trying to avoid the conversation because he thought Dumas was bad news. Phyllis protested that Daniel didn't know him. Daniel pointed out that no one did, and he recommended that she steer clear of anything Dumas was involved in. Daniel knowingly questioned how Phyllis' trip to DC to meet with Dumas had worked out. Phyllis argued that it was different because Amanda had secured an invitation for her to go to Dumas' party in Nice. Daniel anticipated that Phyllis would spend the money on an expensive trip, only for Dumas not to show up again. Phyllis pointed out that the Newman, Abbott, and Winters families were also invited, and she sensed something big was about to go down. She planned to sit back, watch them squirm, and use it to her advantage. Daniel urged Phyllis to stay home and look for something there, but she lamented that nobody there wanted her. She swore she wasn't walking into it blindly because she knew Dumas had his eye on Chancellor. Daniel warned that she'd be a sitting duck caught in the crossfire. Phyllis maintained that she was prepared and ready to pounce, and the idiots who'd made fun of her would eat their words. Daniel clucked that she sounded desperate, like a shark flailing around, waiting to grab its prey. Phyllis was offended by the comparison. She asserted that she was trying to get back on top where she belonged, and she wouldn't apologize to Daniel or anyone else for doing it. Phyllis added that he could use some ambition himself, since learning to play the guitar wouldn't put bread on the table. Daniel countered that he was doing it for his peace of mind, and he refused to apologize for that. Phyllis said she was also taking the trip for Daniel. Daniel stressed that he'd repeatedly asked her to let him get back on his feet on his own, and he didn't want her help. Phyllis expected him to change his tune when she returned with the world in the palm of her hand. Daniel swore he was on Phyllis' side, but he cautioned her against hanging the rest of her life on an invitation Dumas' lawyer had needed to get for her. Daniel didn't want to see Phyllis let down again, but she stood by her instincts. She pledged to make Dumas love her and begged to work with her, and she thought Daniel would eventually see she was right. Daniel hoped he was wrong. She remarked that sharks were winners who got what they wanted. Daniel ran into Sharon and Nick in the foyer on his way out. Daniel mentioned that Phyllis had a crazy idea for her next business venture, and he hoped Nick could talk her out of it. Daniel added that his mother hadn't listened to him, but he guaranteed things would end poorly. Nick suspected Daniel was right, and he promised to do what he could. Sharon and Nick joined Phyllis at the bar, and Phyllis inquired about Nikki's birthday party. Sharon displayed photos of the rare Ferrari that Victor had given Nikki. Sharon mentioned that Nikki had always wanted that car since she'd first gotten her license, and Phyllis voiced surprise that Nikki had told Sharon that. Sharon clarified that Nikki had told everyone at the party, and she'd been there as Nick's guest. Phyllis forced a smile. Phyllis turned the topic to Dumas' party in Nice, and she hoped Dumas had hired a referee to ensure the Newmans and Abbotts didn't kill one another. She asked if Nick knew why Lily and Devin had been invited, and Nick guessed they'd find out when they got there. Sharon was sure Nick would fill Phyllis in on the details after he got back. Phyllis proudly proclaimed that she'd already know because there was another person Dumas had invited to France, her. In Chancellor Park, Tessa begged Mariah to tell her what was going on, but Mariah whimpered that she didn't know if she could. Tessa recognized that Mariah was in pain, and she assured her wife that she didn't have to carry her burden alone anymore. Tessa urged Mariah to let her help, and she wondered what was holding Mariah back. Mariah confided that she was scared. Tessa considered it progress that Mariah had at least acknowledged something was wrong. Mariah asked what had given her away. Tessa replied that she knew and loved Mariah, and she could feel Mariah's pain, but she didn't know how to help because she didn't know what had caused it. Tessa inquired whether there was anything she could say to make Mariah feel safe. Mariah insisted that she needed to protect Tessa from it, and Tessa wouldn't understand because Mariah didn't even understand it herself. Mariah wailed that there was nothing safe in telling Tessa about what she'd done. Tessa insisted that Mariah was always safe with her. Mariah admitted that she'd fallen apart while she'd been away because she hadn't been able to get Ian out of her head. Mariah groaned that she saw his sneering face mocking her everywhere she went, and the memories of all the evil acts he'd committed because of his obsession with her rushed back. Tessa wondered why Mariah hadn't reached out to her, and she asked if she and Aria had even been on Mariah's mind. Mariah claimed that she'd thought about calling, but she hadn't wanted to wake Tessa or Aria. Tessa lectured that it hadn't been a reason not to call, and she recalled their pledge to always find a way to contact one another. Tessa pointed out that even when she and Mariah had been in contact, something had seemed off. Mariah explained that she'd tried to work it out for herself, but she hadn't been able to sleep, so she'd taken the pain away by having a drink, and then another and another. Mariah said she was sorry for being stupid, but she'd been in a lot of pain. Tessa sympathized that turning to alcohol didn't work, but they'd all been there. Tessa urged Mariah not to beat herself up over it, but Mariah thought she should have known better and reached out to Tessa instead. Mariah regretted that she hadn't because she'd felt empty and heartbroken. She flashed back to laughing over drinks with the older man. Tessa pressed Mariah to tell her what had happened, since they couldn't get through it better and stronger if Mariah didn't let her in. Tessa continued that she didn't just want to know, she needed to know. Mariah flashed back to the man extending his hand, and her putting her hand in his. Mariah sobbed that she couldn't go back there, and she ran off. At crimson lights, a distraught Mariah buried her head in her hands. Daniel approached and asked if she was all right. She snapped that she wished everyone would stop asking her that, but she quickly apologized. Daniel recalled that Tessa had mentioned Mariah had been upset. Mariah growled that it wasn't anyone's business. Tessa chased in after Mariah, who spat that she didn't want to talk. Tessa soothingly stated that Mariah didn't have to be scared, but Mariah demanded that Tessa give her some space and quit breathing down her neck because it was just making it worse. Mariah bellowed to leave her alone, and she stormed off. The young and the restless star, Crystal Khalil, thrilled fans with a sweet family moment. In a heartfelt gender reveal, she announced that her second baby is a boy. Though the announcement came months ago, fans still can't get over the adorable update. Crystal Khalil, who plays Lily Winters on The Young and the Restless, has always kept her personal life beautifully grounded. In a touching Instagram post from late 2023, she and her fiancé Sam Restagno confirmed they were expecting a baby boy. The reveal showed her glowing in blue alongside their firstborn, Michael. The announcement was both emotional and intimate, giving fans a peek into her family life beyond the spotlight. She held a small blue cake and smiled with Sam and Michael beside her. The caption read, "Our family is growing. It's a boy." The moment went viral among Y and R followers, with the soap world pouring in love and congratulations. As of mid-2025, Crystal Khalil is no longer pregnant. She quietly welcomed her baby boy in late 2023. While she didn't post many updates during the final stages of her pregnancy, reports confirm the baby arrived safely around the holidays. After giving birth, Crystal took some well-deserved time away from the spotlight to focus on her growing family. Though she has shared very few photos of the newborn, fans plotted glimpses of baby gear and heartwarming captions that hinted at motherhood joy. Crystal has since returned to The Young and the Restless, balancing work and family life like a pro. While she hasn't shared her baby's name publicly, it's clear her second son has brought even more love to her peaceful home with Sam Restagno and her first son, Michael. So no, Crystal Khalil isn't pregnant right now, but she's definitely glowing in her new mom era once again. Crystal Khalil has always spoken fondly of motherhood. Her first son, Michael Caden Hensley, was born in 2010 from her previous marriage to Stephen Hensley. Since then, she's balanced her soap stardom with raising Michael, often sharing little glimpses of their adventures together. Her bond with Sam Restagno, her fiancé and partner of several years, also shines through. The couple shares a peaceful life away from the chaos of Hollywood, making nature hikes, travel, and quiet moments a part of their daily joy. With baby number 2 joining the family, Crystal's joy only multiplies. Fans admire how gracefully she juggled her personal happiness and professional commitments on The Young and the Restless. Even off-screen, Crystal Khalil remains a fan favorite. Her role as Lily Winters continues to be central in The Young and the Restless, and viewers always appreciate her strength, warmth, and authenticity. Her baby news just gave fans one more reason to celebrate her. As we await official updates on her new bundle of joy, the excitement remains high. For now, we're sending best wishes to Crystal, Sam, Michael, and the new baby boy on the way, or possibly already here. Stay tuned for more updates on Crystal Khalil and all your favorite The Young and the Restless stars, only on Soap Opera Daily. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the next 3 weeks, June 9 to June 27, reveal that a fatal whodunit will kick off while some wild secrets get exposed. Some messy former flames will also bring drama. So let's talk about what's ahead on the CBS soap. The week of June 9 to 13 will bring Victor Newman's insistence that Audra Charles needs to make some dirty moves and get Kyle Abbott to Aristotle Dumas' private celebration. Audra will do as she's told, though she may face Holden Novak's questions after he overhears her Victor meeting. After Audra works her magic on Kyle, he'll sell Claire Newman on why he should attend this party. Claire will presumably stay behind since Cole Howard has a health crisis going on, but she'll offer Kyle her blessing on heading to the bash without her. As for Sharon Newman, she'll decide to skip the party due to Mariah Copeland's issues, but she won't like it when Phyllis Summers announces that she'll be at the gathering with Nick Newman. Back with Victor, he'll put more pressure on Adam Newman and may force him to use Newman Media against Billy Abbott in the end. Will Adam cave in after Chelsea Lawson negotiates with Victor? Perhaps Chelsea will at least try to minimize the damage for Billy, though Sally Spectra will still find herself on cleanup duty after some trouble hits. While Christine Blair and Danny Romalotti reunite with Daniel Romalotti Jr., Tessa Porter will dig her heels in with Phyllis and refuse to carry out any Daniel-related agendas for her. During the week of June 16 to 20, there will inevitably be some shockers at Dumas' chateau. Once the party's in full swing, will Dumas finally reveal his true identity to all his guests? One way or another, Y&R seems to be preparing for Billy Flynn's debut as a Kane Ashby recast. It appears Kane created this Dumas persona and has been duping everyone this whole time, including Leslie Winters, who's sure to be outraged when the truth comes out. Dumas' bash will lead to a fatal whodunit, with plenty of suspects and surprises, so it'll be interesting to see how it all goes down. The week of June 23 to 27 will continue all the action and nice. Dumas' invitations pointed out this would be an extended stay, and Y&R wasn't kidding about that since the new Francettes will be featured for quite some time. We know Kyle and Audra are both going to take a walk on the wild side, so will they cheat while they're away? Will Audra betray Nate Hastings just as much as Kyle betrays Claire? As for Mariah, her mystery will fully unravel sooner or later. There will be more flashbacks to fill in the blanks of what really happened that night on her business trip. Did drunk Mariah harm the stranger she encountered after hallucinating he was Ian Ward or something along those lines? Will a criminal cover-up come back to bite Mariah eventually? Whatever the case, Tessa will be in for a shock when she finally discovers the real story. Daniel will get tangled up in all this as well, so we'll see if he helps or makes things worse. On The Young and the Restless this week, fans will be treated to some familiar faces, while others are more mysterious. Daniel Romalotti will be pleased to see that his rock star dad, Danny Romalotti, and Christine Williams are back from his world tour and visiting Genoa City this week. The last time they were in town was New Year's, and Daniel was struggling. He may still not have finished grieving, but a dad will probably be happily surprised to learn that music seems to be helping. Is a jam session coming? Mariah is another person struggling this week. She did something on her business trip that she can't deal with or share. Her mom, Sharon, will forego the invitation for a French vacation with Nick to stay in town in case Mariah needs her. But in the meantime, Mariah doesn't want to tell anyone what really went down. Only we can see Mariah's flashbacks, and they are only leading to more questions. What we do know is that actor Michael Swan plays a man that Mariah met on her trip. They drank together, and whatever happened next that has her so upset is something that would have made Ian Ward proud. Aristotle Dumas seems to be on everyone's mind in Genoa City, particularly because of the growing invitation list to a private vacation at the mysterious billionaire's summer home in Nice, France. Although the exclusive invitations had a date of Friday, June 13th, that should be the day those who decide to go start traveling. Aristotle's identity will finally be revealed, but in the meantime, who will turn up in France to greet the guests? His style seems to be to have someone be his face rather than show himself. Even when he fired Holden, he got Damien to do it, and even then, he fired Damien and gave the instructions about terminating Holden through his assistant. The closest anyone else has gotten is to talk to Dumas' attorney, Amanda Sinclair. Will Billy Flynn be making his first appearance in France? And even if he does, how is he related to Aristotle Dumas? Or is he the man behind the mask? In the heart of Genoa City, where power and secrets collide, a shocking revelation has turned the lives of the Newman family upside down. A mysterious billionaire, Aristotle Dumas, arrived in town, casting a shadow over the city's elite with cryptic threats and a chilling photograph that left Nicky Newman in tears. What began as a high-stakes game of blackmail and revenge unraveled into one of the most elaborate deceptions Genoa City has ever seen, exposing old wounds and threatening the very foundation of the Newman dynasty. Genoa City was abuzz when Aristotle Dumas, a billionaire with a shadowy past, emerged as a formidable player in the city's power struggles. His name echoed through boardrooms and corridors, stirring unease among the Newmans and their rivals. Dumas's intentions were unclear, but his presence alone seemed to challenge the rules established by decades of rivalry and betrayal. The tension reached a boiling point when Nicky Newman received an encrypted photograph late one night, a haunting image that shattered her composure. As she clutched her phone, trembling, the message was clear: "Meet me alone, or everything changes." Victoria Newman, alerted by her mother's cries, rushed to her side and glimpsed the photograph that had undone Nicky. The image, signed by Dumas, hinted at a deeply personal secret, one that Nicky refused to explain. Despite her fear, Nicky insisted on meeting Dumas alone, leaving Victoria reeling with questions. Why did this stranger hold such power over her mother? What could reduce Nicky, a woman who had faced scandals and threats with unshakable grace, to a sobbing wreck? Victoria, unwilling to let her mother face the danger alone, followed Nicky to a private hotel suite where Dumas waited. What she witnessed was beyond comprehension. Nicky, overcome with emotion, embraced Dumas, who softly called her mother. The word struck Victoria like a blow, raising impossible questions. Was Dumas truly Nicky's son, a secret kept hidden for decades? Or was this a cruel psychological ploy? Nicky's silence, when confronted, only deepened the mystery, leaving Victoria to grapple with the possibility that her family's legacy was built on lies. As the encounter rippled through Genoa City, Nick Newman was drawn into the chaos. Desperate for answers, he confronted Dumas, only to be met with a chilling smile that hinted at buried truths. The Newman family was left fractured, each member struggling to make sense of Dumas's motives and the secrets Nicky refused to share. The truth, when it came, was more shocking than anyone could have imagined. Aristotle Dumas was no billionaire outsider but Cain Ashby, a man once trusted as a friend, lover, and father in Genoa City. Presumed gone, Cain had returned under a meticulously crafted disguise, complete with a fake accent, a fabricated fortune, and a network of international dealings designed to deceive. His goal? To dismantle the Newman Empire and exploit its deepest vulnerabilities. Cain's deception was masterful. He had slipped into Genoa City undetected, using his false identity to manipulate boardrooms, blackmail rivals, and target Victor Newman's empire. His investments, seemingly random, were calculated to undermine Newman Enterprises and exploit old grudges between the Newmans and the Abbotts. The photograph sent to Nicky was a weapon, a carefully chosen relic of her past that forced her to confront a secret she had buried long ago. Lily Winters, Cain's ex-wife, watched the chaos unfold with a breaking heart. She noticed subtle clues, a slip in Cain's accent, familiar mannerisms, that betrayed his true identity. when the mask finally fell during a televised confrontation with Victoria and Nick. Lily was forced to accept that the man she once loved was gone, consumed by his thirst for revenge. The revelation that Aristotle Dumas was Cain Ashby sent shockwaves through Genoa City. Chancellor Industries, once tied to Cain, faced a crisis as shareholders grappled with his covert maneuvers. Victor Newman, sensing a threat to his legacy, vowed to hunt Cain down, while Nikki retreated into grief, haunted by the past she could no longer escape. Victoria launched her own investigation, determined to uncover the full scope of Cain's conspiracy, while Lily, torn between rage and sorrow, prepared for the battles ahead. Cain's motives were rooted in a web of betrayals and old wounds. He had uncovered a secret about Nikki, a child she had lost or hidden, that could rewrite the Newman family history. By posing as Aristotle Dumas, Cain exploited Nikki's guilt and the family's fears, nearly bringing their empire to its knees. His elaborate scheme, supported by allies like Amanda Sinclair and others, revealed a network of shady deals and stock transfers that left Genoa City's power players stunned. The saga of Aristotle Dumas, revealed as Cain Ashby, is a cautionary tale of ambition, betrayal, and the enduring weight of secrets. For the Newman family, it is a stark reminder that no empire is untouchable, and no past is ever truly buried. As Genoa City reels from the fallout, questions linger. Who else knew of Cain's plans? What other secrets will surface in the wake of his deception? And most chillingly, is Cain merely the first of many to challenge the city's dynasties? Genoa City is no stranger to secrets, but few revelations have ever rocked its elite quite like the bombshell Amanda Sinclair dropped on the night of Dumas's extravagant return. At a lavish gathering in the ancient Dumas mansion, long-lost truths collided with hidden agendas, threatening to dismantle the carefully crafted lives of the city's most powerful residents. Under the warm, golden glow of the Dumas estate, Amanda Sinclair, known to many as a poised and respected attorney, found herself crumbling under the weight of a painful secret. Her confession to best friend Lily Winters unveiled the true identity of the enigmatic Dumas, her presumed dead brother, Cain Ashby. Years ago, Amanda's childhood was fractured by a traumatic separation that left scars she never fully healed. Now, as fate would have it, the man she believed lost forever re-emerged, not as the gentle brother she remembered, but as Dumas, a wealthy and cold-eyed figure cloaked in mystery and vengeance. The return of Dumas, hyped as a grand homecoming for a wealthy outsider, was in reality a meticulously staged confrontation. The atmosphere at the mansion was palpably tense, with cautious glances and polite smiles masking deeper fears. As the party unfolded, guests noticed subtle clues, swapped artwork, unfamiliar faces that hinted at deeper plans underway. Lily, ever perceptive, sensed Amanda's distress long before the confession came. Amanda's fear wasn't just rooted in personal turmoil. It was the dread of a carefully concealed truth exploding in front of Genoa City's most powerful eyes. As the clock struck midnight, Dumas seized the stage and peeled back years of lies. With chilling calm, he revealed himself as Cain Ashby, returning not just to reclaim his place, but to expose those who had once betrayed his family. The announcement was seismic. Gasps filled the room, followed by a stunned silence. For Amanda, it was a moment of raw emotion, tears, disbelief, and the crushing realization that nothing would ever be the same again. For Genoa's elite, including figures like Victor Newman, Nikki, Jack Abbott, and Diane Jenkins, the revelation was more than a scandal, it was an existential threat. Cain's masterfully planned persona shattered alliances and incited panic among those whose reputations were built on fragile trust. The shock quickly gave way to fallout. Lily Winters, once closest to Cain, felt the sting of betrayal most deeply. Trust was obliterated, particularly for those like Victor who had unwittingly supported Cain's ventures, and Nick Newman, who felt manipulated for corporate gain. Phyllis, however, saw opportunity in the chaos. Undeterred by Kane's deception, she approached him with a bold business proposal, hoping to carve a new path for herself in a city suddenly thrown off balance. Amid the chaos, Amanda found herself at the epicenter, no longer just a witness to tragedy, but its unwilling heroine. With Kane's schemes unfolding, she tried desperately to mediate, aware that unchecked conflict could unravel a city's economic and social stability. As corporate leaders scrambled to contain the damage, Victor with media control, Jack with boardroom diplomacy, and Divin with financial caution, a new twist sent fresh ripples through the night. A murder at the Grand Phoenix Hotel. The victim's identity and motive remain unknown, but the message is clear: this isn't just a family drama anymore. It's a boiling crisis with far-reaching consequences. For Amanda, this marks the beginning of an uncertain chapter. Caught between her past and the storm ahead, she must navigate investigations, suspicions, and the potential collapse of everything she's built. Lily, wounded but resilient, prepares for a battle of her own. The grand facade of Genoa City's upper class has cracked wide open. With secrets laid bare and trust shattered, a new era of reckoning has begun. Amanda's confession was just the spark. What follows may be the most turbulent period in Genoa City's history. And in the center of it all, Amanda and Kane, siblings separated by fate and reunited by vengeance, must now face the fire they've ignited, knowing full well that the glittering world around them may never recover. Claire and Kyle want to make their relationship work. The odds are against them because their families don't get along. Claire is a Newman while Kyle is an Abbott. Most of their families are okay with them being together. Unfortunately, one of their family members is completely against their relationship. Victor is determined to stop their relationship at any cost. The young and the restless popular couple had an interview talking about the future of their relationship. Are Kyle and Claire over, or will they manage to stay together? Haley Aaron believes that Claire and Kyle could win Victor over. She thinks they could change his mind about how he feels towards their relationship. Michael Mueller feels differently. He doesn't think Victor will change his mind about them. In the actor's opinion, it makes the story fun to tell. He likes the fact that their characters are in love, and someone is waiting in the wings to break them up. Kyle knows the way Victor operates, so he has to come up with a creative way to express his love for Claire. The actor discussed the love Kyle feels for Claire. He appreciates the optimism she has towards life. Kyle finds that optimism appealing and endearing. Her outlook on life makes him want to do grand gestures to prove his love for her. Unfortunately, he believes Victor's mind is made up about them. During the interview, Aaron and Mueller discuss their characters postponing moving in together. They talk about whether they still want that for their characters. Michael Mueller believes the characters are on the same page when it concerns their relationship. Claire and Kyle don't agree on how to deal with family. The Abbotts and Newmans are enemies, which makes their relationship more interesting. He feels their relationship is fun to watch. They enjoy playing out the scenes. Mueller believes Kyle wants them to move in together. Aaron agrees with his opinion. She talks about being a new member of the Newman clan. Claire is discovering love for the first time with Kyle. She doesn't want to ruin her relationship with her family, but she can't lose Kyle. He's the love of her life. Her character learned a lot about life in a short time. She went from having no family members to becoming a member of the Newman clan. Her character learned from the Abbott family too. Aaron and Mueller talked about whether their characters could stay together. Mueller wants their characters to get married. It's the first good relationship Kyle has been in. He feels his character should have another wedding. Aaron wants the same thing for their characters, but she wants them to get divorced too. In her opinion, they are a couple who deserve to have ups and downs. She's excited to see what happens with them. Will Kyle and Claire go the distance, or will Victor break them up? Mariah sank into the velvet-lined armchair near the window, though its comfort did little to calm the chaos brewing inside her. Her hands trembled as she folded them over her abdomen, the slight swell beneath her palms both a mystery and a torment. The early morning light seeped through sheer curtains, casting delicate patterns on her skin, patterns that only amplified her fragility. Each breath she took felt like betrayal. The life growing within her offered no peace, only pain and shame. Inhaling meant accepting what had happened. Exhaling felt like giving in to the despair threatening to engulf her. Sharon and Tessa sat close by, exchanging anxious looks. Both women were desperate to help, but helpless against the weight of Mariah's secret. When Maria broke into a cry that pierced the room's silence, her agony was as unmistakable as it was unbearable. "Please, someone, help me," she pleaded, her voice cracked and splintered, like shards of glass cutting through still air. Immediately, Sharon wrapped her arms around her daughter, while Tessa laid a gentle hand on her back, grounding her. "It's okay, Mariah," Sharon whispered, maternal strength resonating in every syllable. "We're here. You're safe now. Just tell us everything." Mariah's tears poured freely as she struggled to speak, to gather enough courage to confront the truth. The secret inside her wasn't just a baby, it was a wound that refused to close. Her voice trembled as she finally said it aloud. I'm pregnant." The room froze. The words hovered, heavy as storm clouds. Sharon gasped. Tessa moved closer, her love evident. "You're carrying a life, sweetheart," Tessa said, her voice soft but firm. "It's not your fault. We will stand by you." But Maria's next words shattered their composure. "It wasn't consensual," she said. "I was drugged." She couldn't finish. The memories were too sharp, too cruel. She remembered the drink at the fundraiser. How she dismissed the dizzy spell as one cocktail too many. Then, darkness. When she woke up, she was alone. In Ian Ward's apartment. Confused. In pain. He laughed when she cried. Told her no one would believe her. That it didn't matter. Sharon's face contorted in rage. "Maria, you didn't deserve any of this," she said, her voice shaking. Tessa clutched Maria's hand as she encouraged her to keep speaking. "He drugged me," Mariah whispered. "He waited until I was vulnerable, and when I woke up, I just knew. I could feel it." Since that night, nightmares plagued her sleep. Dreams filled with Ian's cold eyes, his unwelcome touch. Each morning she awoke haunted by bruises she couldn't explain and pain that lingered long after the drug had left her system. And then, confirmation of her worst fear, a pregnancy test. "I'm so ashamed," she sobbed. "I didn't fight. I didn't stop him. I let him." "No," Sharon said firmly, lifting her daughter's chin to meet her eyes. "You survived. That is not weakness. That's strength." Tessa nodded, tears brimming. "You are brave for telling us, and we will not let Ian get away with this." At the mention of his name, Maria flinched, but she straightened, wiping her cheeks. "I want justice," she whispered. "I want him to pay." And in that moment, a plan began to form. Sharon would use every legal resource she had to drag Ian Ward into court. Tessa would attend every appointment, every session, every painful step beside Mariah. And Mariah, broken but not beaten, would reclaim her story. As the morning sun rose higher, the three women sat close, bonded by pain, love, and a new purpose. Mariah touched the curve of her stomach, no longer just a burden, but a reason to fight. This child, born of violence, would know only love and truth. In the days to come, Maria faced her trauma head-on. With Sharon's strength and Tessa's loyalty, she began the long, painful journey toward healing.